So you know the famous words. Let's get this party started. Haven't had to say those words in a while. All right. Get myself on the bike. Get my computer set up. So hopefully you haven't had to dust your computer off too much. Some of you have your your bikes set up all year round. And if that's the case, maybe just a little pumping up of the tires, putting some lube on that chain, and dusting off a little bit of that dust that's collected. Like I said earlier, give yourself a nice easy gear. Be in your small ring in the front, and give yourself the easiest gear you have in the back, or something where you can just spin your legs nice and easy. Just for another 5 minutes, we'll get a little bit more warmed up, and then we'll get into the heart of the workout. So as I mentioned in my email, because you're just getting back on the trainer, the body needs a little bit of adjustment time. So as a result, we might not go a full hour tonight, and just get in a good workout that'll get you just back into the swing of things, back on the bike. But believe me, it's not going to be an easy one. So before we get started, I just wanted to throw something out there. Tonight's trainer session, I am dedicating to a very dear friend of mine, Lucy Rieger. Some of you may have known Lucy. She recently, unfortunately, succumbed to pancreatic cancer, and she was a regular at the trainer sessions. She was a really amazing person, and if you read through her obituary, you will recognize what an incredible person Lucy was to everyone. She wasn't a stranger to anyone. She always had a smile on her face. Really a good heart. Loved everyone. Was extremely compassionate. Really was a very religious person. Had an incredible faith. Probably the most incredible faith I've ever seen of anyone I've ever known. And even including my mother. Don't tell her I said that. Lucy's husband, John, was a cyclist also. Didn't ride as much as Lucy did, but in his day, he had some great stories to tell. And they do have 2 daughters, Lanka and Antine. And so she will be deeply missed. And I know that if she was still here, she would definitely be at this session tonight. So I'll tell a few stories about her along the way. I think the one, just to get us started, is that at a very young age, Lucy decided to find her own company. She found a company called Library Update. And that company was in existence for 47 years. So she was a pioneer in a number of ways. As an entrepreneur, as a cyclist, she raced in the early days when women's cycling fields were extremely small, didn't have a lot of competition, but wow, those women would fight hard in those races, and she could tell a ton of stories about that too. So the one thing I thought was really cool was that in her obituary, it said when she started her business, she was providing an avenue for part-time work for people in her community. That was her mission, was to make sure that her community had work, which is an incredible mission for somebody's life. So she will be missed, but I will continue to tell stories about Lucy Rieger for sure. All right, so let's get this workout started. If you have a cadence sensor, it will be extremely helpful. It will help you to just kind of keep your leg speed where it should be. I'm going to mention gears, and if you need some advice on those gears, I will try to guide you into the correct gear. So you're currently in your small ring. I want you to stay in that small ring. Shift to a gear that you think, I'm sorry, don't shift to a gear. Stay in that top gear where you are right now. I want you to get up to 100 cadence. We're going to hold this for a minute. 3, 2, 1. So this should feel nice and easy. Leg speed high. You don't have to go 110. I just want you to be at 100. If you're bouncing a ton at that cadence, then try to just back it down just a tad. Maybe make it 99 so that you can keep a nice steady cadence. What we're going to do to keep this warm-up going, we're going to shift to a harder gear every minute. When we make that shift, I want you to try to hold 100 or the highest cadence you can hold in the gear that you're shifting to. So with each shift, obviously it's going to get harder. 3, 2, 1 gear down, 1 gear harder. Keep that cadence where it is. And remember all those things you've learned along the way about cadence and pedaling. Keep your feet nice and light. You don't have to stomp into the pedals. If you have light feet, you'll feel yourself kind of pulling up more than pushing down. That's what makes those legs light. Find that little bend in your elbows. When you do that, that puts your butt in the saddle the right way. It gets the legs to move as they need to. 3, 2, 1 more harder gear. Can you hold that same cadence? That's the question. Hopefully you had an answer. The answer being that you're staying right at that 100. If you have a nice smile on your face, that'll help you do it. Earl's so happy to be here. He kept asking me for months, when are you going to start the trainer sessions? Well, here they are. It's time to work on Wednesday nights. All right, we got 2 more minutes. 2 more gear shifts. See if you can hold that same cadence. 3, 2, 1 more shift. It's getting a little harder. If your heart's starting to pump, that's what we want. If your legs are burning, that's a good thing. Starting to bring some lactic acid to the surface. Starting to get the lungs, the heart, even your diaphragm. You'll feel your breathing in and out. Just let it happen. Don't fight that breath. Might need to turn your fan on at this point. I forgot to mention, hopefully you have your water bottle. 1 more shift. 3, 2, last shift. You might be closer to 90 now, maybe 95. This is the part where the body really starts to react. You might even start sweating already. That's a good thing. That's what these workouts do. Give that good sweat. 10 seconds. 5, 3, 2, 1. All the way back to the top. Nice easy gear. Take a drink. Towel off. Hit your fan if you need it. All right, so told you I'd talk about Lucy a little bit. One of the things that Lucy, when she and I started working together, that I had a hard time breaking her of was being in her big ring all the time. So we're going to do one set, not right now, but after another little warm-up set of exactly the way Lucy used to pedal in that big ring. Ultimately, she came around to the dark side and started to learn how to spin. All right, so here's what this next 5-minute effort's going to be. I want you to be in your big ring and about the middle of your cassette. You don't need to go there yet. In the middle of the cassette, we're going to do a 15-second out of the saddle effort. And then you're going to sit back down, shift up a few easier gears, and then spin that out for 45. So remember, when you stand up, you're in your hoods, you're going straight up, not forward, straight up, so that your hips are over your ankles, and you're just feeling the tip of your saddle between your legs. That's going to give you the right position and get nice and tall so you can open up your chest. All right, so go ahead, big ring in the front. Now the 15, where is it? If you look back, it's about where your chain is exactly straight from front to back. So you might see about 3 or 4 gears underneath that chain. All right, so 15 seconds standing. 3, 2, 1, let's go. Just find a nice rhythm here. Just let it happen. Don't be challenged by it. Go at whatever pace works for you. Sit back down. Give me 3 easier gears. So remember, if you swipe that shifter all the way, it will shift to 3 easier gears. We're going to hold this. Then when we're ready to stand up again, you're going to shift down 3 harder gears. So you should be back to where you were. Three harder gears. And stand it up. Now the legs might be burning even more. Sitting back down. Nice swipe. 3 easier gears. Now this is when you tend, when the gearing's a little harder, to want to push into the pedals. You want to actually do the reverse. Feel your legs be light. Don't push at all. Actually feel the tops of your shoes as you pedal. 3 harder gears. Standing up. Effort number 3 out of 5. Keep your head up. Looking at the screen. Sitting back down. 3 easier gears. I know you're going to need your towel now. Efforts when you stand up. They'll jack the heart rate up a little bit. Why? Because you're using your whole body. When you're seated, just the legs, the glutes, lower back are what are working. Don't worry about your cadence. 3 harder gears. And standing up. Two more of these to go. Sitting back down. 3 easier gears. One more standing effort. And you get a little break. Chance to get a drink. If you need a drink at any point, don't hesitate to take it. You want to finish that whole bottle by the end of the night. Feel a smooth pedal stroke. No little glitches or hitches. 3 harder gears. Last time. Last minute. Last 15 seconds standing. Sitting back down. 3 harder gears. 3 easier gears. Last 45 seconds for this effort. After this, the legs will be sufficiently warmed up. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. My niece got married in September, and we designated her as the Thanksgiving home. 3, 2, 1. Small ring, back up to the top. Take a drink, towel off. Spin the legs nice and easy. Get ready for the next effort. So, every year we've been saying, nobody really likes turkey, so why should we have it? So this year, my mother made a very, very small turkey breast, and we had steaks on the grill. Ha! That was awesome. CJ, the new member of the family, Christopher John, as his mother calls him, he marinated the steaks, made them on the grill. He did a great job. So I think we might be heading over to Adrian and CJ's house for the holidays now. They got the nice brand new house, beautiful big kitchen. It was perfect. We did make some of the regulars, stuffing, green beans. My sister wanted to make this orzo salad thing, which was actually really good. So we had some different stuff, and it was worth it. But the winter chicken dinner was Adrian's apple crumble. That won over it all. I'll tell you the pumpkin pie story as we move along. All right. So now we're going to move into Lucy and I first meeting each other and her showing me what she got on the bike. So I want everybody to get in their big ring and go back to that 15, right where that chain is like directly going into your big ring. We're going to stay here for about 3 minutes so you can get a sense of Lucy was strong. She had quads that were great for the track. She could motor at all costs, and she's lucky if maybe she was 5 foot tall. But I tell you what, Lucy could stay on anybody's wheel. If you were going 25, she was going to be glued to that back wheel. And if you were going 16, she was going to be right there. It was great. She always had the ability to be on a wheel. Her husband, John, tells a great story. How'd you meet Lucy? Well, I met her on a bike ride. She was riding on a tandem with this other guy. And the whole time I kept being like, wow, this little lady on the back of this tandem, she looks like she's pretty strong. John worked his magic. Next thing you know, they're riding bikes together. And then they got married. So it's a great story. The crazy part, the guy that Lucy was riding with is now married to Lucy's sister. So they kept it in the family. It was great. All right, we got 2 minutes down. 1 to go. If anybody wants to pedal like this all the time, I'd advise you not to. Because within the first hour of your ride, your legs are going to be dead. It's like lifting a heavy weight. You can only do so many reps. When you lift a lighter weight, you can do more reps. It's good to train here on the trainers, build some strength this way. But if you're going on a 3-hour ride, and you want to stay in the game, this is not the way to do it. And Lucy actually learned that very well. 3, 2, 1. Small ring, easy gear, spin it out, take a drink. All right. Now we're going to slowly move you into Lucy's progress. So she started to understand cadence, but every once in a while, she'd slip back in to that big ring. And she'd dive right back into that slow cadence. So here's why a lot of people tend to go to that slow cadence. It can feel at times like you're not working as hard because you're just slowly moving your legs around. But in the process of doing that, you're actually using up more muscle strength than you need to. So by learning how to spin, you can save your legs and give yourself more time, more ability, more duration to keep going. And that's what riding's all about. From point to point, you want to be able to finish. So this one is going to be an 8-minute effort. Seems like a long time, but you're going to see how it's going to go. We're going to start in the gear we're in right now. And we're going to go 1 minute in this gear with a high cadence. Then we're going to move to our big ring, staying in the same gear in the back. And we're going to hold whatever cadence we can hold for that for 1 minute. And we're going to keep walking down the cassette with a big ring and a small ring. So stay where you are, 1 minute, hit that cadence nice and high. Feel the light gear. If you're bouncing, just dial it back a little bit. 1 minute here. Enjoy this easy gear. Enjoy the spin. Feel yourself settling into your saddle. That will help you spin the legs. Again, nice relaxed hands. Nobody's death gripping the bars. You're not going to go anywhere here. Just relax those hands. Keep those elbows kind of tucked in and bent. Nobody's doing this. You're not on a flat bar. You're not on a mountain bike. You're not on a, even like a commuter bike. Just give yourself. That means you also have to use your core to hold your body right where it needs to be. Shift to your big ring. Stay in that gear. Try to challenge yourself. See what kind of cadence you can hold here. You can probably hold a pretty high cadence. I'm holding 95 for those of you that are following my leg speed. So you can still hold a relatively high cadence in your big ring at the top of the cassette. But once we start marching down, you're going to start recognizing the difference between that big ring and that small ring. Now also, if you have a compact crank, standard crank, or the traditional standard crank like I have, or a mid-compact, 1 gear harder in the back, down to your small ring. Get yourself back to that high cadence. It's going to make a difference what 2 rings you have in the front. So if you have a standard crank, that big ring has 53 teeth on it. The small one has 39. If you're in a mid-compact, the big one has 52 teeth, and the small one has 36. If you have a compact, the big ring has 50 typically and 34. So there's a huge difference in the number of teeth on that ring in terms of how you're going to be spinning those legs. Back to that big ring. Stay in the same gear in the back. Allow yourself to spin this, whatever cadence you can hold. Remember, it's our first workout. If you're just feeling like you can't do as much, that's okay. You'll build trainer work as we go. You get those legs used to being stationary. And remember, on a trainer, you're not coasting ever. You're going to be pedaling tonight the entire time. Coming up to halfway. 1 harder gear in the back, down to your small ring in the front. Then you should be able to spin this You should still be able to spin this pretty high. I'm holding 100. So see if you can get 90. So this was the gradual development that I put Lucy through initially, was for her to see the difference between mashing that big ring and doing something that was better for her legs for the long haul. And you do notice the difference when you do it this way. Up to your big ring. 5 minutes in, 8 minutes total. Cadence is going to be a little bit slower. For some people, this might feel like a perfect gear. Some people love to be in like 85 cadence, 80. But you're still working the legs. And again, as you get tired, that's when your positioning and your form goes awry. So work on that at all times. Bending those elbows, relax hands, nice light feet. One harder gear, small ring. Last small ring, last high cadence. Take a drink if you need it. I see the towels start coming out. That's a good thing. That means you're working hard. Keeping that cadence high. Coming up to the last minute. You know the drill. 3, 2, big ring. Stay in the same gear in the back. Hold this steady. If you have power, this is also a good exercise to see how your power changes with the gear shifts. Obviously, being in the big ring may generate some higher power, but it might not be sustainable power. There's a difference. Almost there. 5, 3, 2, 1. Small ring. Easy gear in the back. Take a drink. Towel off. Nice and easy. Allow the body to recover. Sometimes that's the hardest part for people, is recognizing that they need to do very little on the rest periods. It's okay to rest. You can do that when you're even in a group setting. You can go to the back of the field, maybe come off the back a little bit, allow yourself to rest back there, get your breath, come back into the group, however it works best for you. All right, so now we're going to do a similar type effort, but this time we're going to stay in the same gear. Another 8-minute effort. We're going to start in our small ring. Actually, no, big ring. 25, don't have to go there yet. So big ring at the top of your cassette. Then every minute, you're going to shift down to your 14. So that's going to put your cadence pretty low. You might even be at like 50 for that cadence. Your 14 will be, if you have a 12 at the bottom, 1, 2, the third gear up from the smallest one in the bottom. That's where I want you to be. Whatever gear that might be on your bike, that's fine. We're going to just keep going back and forth, because now we're going to talk about Lucy's training with me and why. Why was she training with me? All right, so hit that small, big ring, top of the cassette. Let's keep it here for 1 minute. Nice high cadence, whatever you can hold. So Lucy came to me when we started working together, and she said, I want to win my age group at the Grand Fondo in Morristown, which I can't remember what it was called back then. And she said, whatever I got to do, I want to win it. And we did the medio level, which I think was like 50 miles or something. I can't even remember. I said, okay, let's get working. So we started working together. She worked hard. She was a member of the BTCNJ Bike Club. Now you're going to go down to that 14. Cadence is going to get low, really low. If you're at 45 or 50, that's where I want you to be. So we did a lot of climbing, because that course is a tough course. If any of you have done that in the past, you know it can be challenging. So we worked really hard. We got her where she needed to be. And on the day of the event, I had 2 athletes there that were trying to win their age group. So I said to Randy, will you be Lucy's domestique for the day? And of course he said yes. Shift him back up to the top of that cassette. Spin it out. So we all lined up in downtown Morristown, and we started the ride. Randy with Lucy, and me with another of my athletes. I think the first climb is Black River, if I'm not mistaken, which is like, I don't even know, 2 miles long or something. Really tough. Randy got her to the top. He was there with her the whole way, encouraging her, letting her draft off of him. And remember what I told you about her. She could hold any wheel. Back down to that. 14. Super low cadence. This was probably her climbing up that. Nothing scared her. She was there to win that trophy. So she made it up that first climb. The next climb, it's kind of a little sneaky one. Can't remember the name of the road, but you think it's like, this isn't a climb. And then all of a sudden, at the end, you're like, whoa, what just happened? Well, my athlete and I, we were just in front of them. And for some reason, Back up to that top of the cassette. We are within like 50 meters of the top. And my athlete like hits something and falls over. And if you know how the fondos are set up, it's a timed climb. So each climb, you have to go as fast as you can from the bottom to the top. So I'm like, get up, get up, get up. Let's go, let's go. Are you okay? Are you okay? And at that point, there goes Lucy and Randy. They're so focused, I don't even think they knew we were on the side of the road. We made it to the top. We had one more climb to go. Back down to that 14. Five minutes in. 8 minutes total. So we're coming. Normally these Fondo formats, the way we would ride them is nice and casual between the climbs, and then all out, but paced for the climb sections. So we finally made it to the last climb. Everybody at this point feeling a little weary, but confident to get to the top. So we climb to it. We all regroup. We get ourselves to stop at the last rest stop. Everybody's feeling good. And unfortunately, back up to the top of the cassette. That ride, you think you're done, but you're not. The climbing sections are over, but man, those last couple climbs that come at you, they are killer. So we worked our way to the finish line. We all finished together, everybody arm in arm, hand in hand, crossing the finish line. It was a good day. And then the waiting started. We had to wait to see where you were in the finishing standings. Fortunately, they had like a computer set up. You could go check to see where you were. So I said, let's wait, go have something to eat, back down to that 14 last minute. Let's have something to eat, and then we'll go check the results. So we did. They had a beautiful spread, lots of options, vegetarian, meat lovers, whatever you wanted. They really had good food there, good rest stops, very well organized. Marty's reliable, did a great job for that ride. And then we finally made it over to the computer. We put Lucy's number in. And what do you think happened? She won her age group. She was so excited. She was jumping up and down. Back up to middle of your cassette. Small ring in the front. Into the easiest gear now. Let's just spin this out. She was so ecstatic. I've never seen anybody with the biggest smile on their face. And of course, she credits her domestique, Randy, as the reason for her finish. And he did. He did a great job. And then, of course, the icing on the cake was that the athlete that I was with, she ended up winning her age group too. So it was a good day for everybody, for Double Star Coaching. And the cool part was, within like a week or two, they had an awards ceremony. And so everybody got the winner's jersey for the ride. And so we all went. I'll show you at the end a picture of Lucy getting her award, holding up that jersey like it was a gold medal at the Olympics. That was a great day. Super fun, beautiful weather, great ride. So I hope for all of you, the same thing. You're going to stay in this small ring, nice easy gear. We're going to cool it down for another couple of minutes. I just want to read to you what was written about Lucy. Lucy left us with these final words of wisdom, which I always love. I love words of wisdom. She said, pray it forward. True to her giving spirit, she asked that any blessing she brought to your life be shared with someone else who needs it. Her light continues to shine through all of us. And that is truly, truly who Lucy was. She was more concerned about her fellow human beings than she was about herself. She was always giving of herself, her faith, her knowledge, her experience, and her cycling. And those that knew her in the Bicycle Touring Club of North Jersey, which she was a member of, she was on the board of directors. Everyone knew Lucy. So she will be greatly missed. But every time I go for a ride now, I know that she will be with me forever, making sure I get up those hills with a nice lead out like Randy. So I'm going to show you a picture of her so you can kind of have a sense of who she is if you don't know her. A couple of more minutes, we'll cool this down. If you haven't finished your water bottle, this is when you want to do that. Get in those last bits of hydration. Remember, your hydration that you do today will help you recover better tomorrow. So if you come off a ride and you're really dehydrated, it's going to carry into the next day. So that's why that recovery shake, recovery drink, know that you don't have to do a shake if you don't feel like you want it to be. Sometimes I'll just do whey protein and water just to give me the protein and rehydrate myself. People have always asked me, well, can't I just eat something? Yeah, you can eat something too, but you need that rehydration. You really need to get that back into your system and get your body to get hydrated again for the next day to recover. I notice if I don't do my recovery drink after a workout of any duration, I notice it the next day. So if you're not in that routine, this might be a good time to do that, is to start to get into a good hydration regimen each day, and then get in your recovery drink at the end of each of these workouts on Wednesday nights. And then if you're doing other workouts on the trainer during the winter, same thing applies. If you go for an hour swim, same thing applies. If you go for a run, same thing applies. Even if you go for a 3-hour hike, it's the perfect way to help your body recover. So don't deprive it of that, because it does need that recovery source. And ladies in the room, I'm going to give you a charge to try to, every day, make sure that you have some protein source in every meal that you have. Not to take the guys out of the equation, but we as women need more protein than we think we do. So, have a salad, put some chicken on it. Have some rice cakes as a snack, put some nut butter on it. Have a banana, do the same thing. You put some nuts, a handful of nuts with your banana. And that will make sure, and I notice it myself, when I start getting into that regiment, my legs feel better when I ride. All right. First night down. Hard to believe, but we are finished. Good job, everybody. Before I get off, or when I get off, I'm going to show you guys a picture of Lucy so you can have that in your head so you know who she is when you go out on a ride and you climb up any of those climbs that you know that came from the Fondo. This is Lucy Rieger. Hopefully you can see her. And that is the day that she got her jersey and her medal. And you can see that beautiful smile that she had that day. Thanks, Luce. Lucy Boo, as I called her. All right, if anybody wants to say anything.